What's up, everybody? Coach Mills here, coming at you with the most insane Valorant video of 2022 so far. This is absolutely ridiculously nuts, and we gotta break down what's going on. But the GameLeap website is the best place to pop off, dominate, and climb. Tips, tricks, guides, you know the drill. Do yourself a favor, go check it out right now, down below. Now, this is just the most ridiculous news ever, so we're just gonna play the clip because this actually happened this morning.
I'm back, baby. I could love tens.
You saw that right. Shroud is on Sentinels right now, and he's going to be actually playing in the last chance qualifier that is happening just around the corner. Now, the first reaction that you're going to have is like, this is just ridiculous. There's no way that Shroud is actually going to play on Sentinels, but it's actually true. And in addition to that, he is going to be temporarily replacing Sick on the roster. And a lot of you are going to be up in arms about this, saying, what the heck, why is Sick not playing in the game? He's one of the best players that has ever graced Valorant. But unfortunately, Sick has been going through some mental health problems, and for a while, he's stepping away from competitive play. So he's not going to be playing on Sentinels, and Shroud is simply just a filler for Sick on the roster, and this most likely won't be a long-term thing. So it seems that Sentinels reached out to Shroud, trying to secure a contract with them as a replacement for the last chance qualifier. It seems really crazy to not only try to reach out to Shroud, but to get Shroud. But the actually truly crazy thing comes next, when if they actually make it to Champions, Shroud will be the one representing Sentinels at Champions. Gerald G tweeted out this quote, "I've just been told if Shroud wins VCT last chance qualifier with Sentinels, he's going to Champions with them." And I think we could all collectively agree, what the fuck is happening? So imagine this is the dream, right? Shroud just jumps onto this team. They actually somehow managed to win last chance qualifiers, and then they somehow managed to actually win Champions. And Shroud would have just successfully sped run a championship in Valorant, a game that he doesn't actively grind. And yeah, that'd just be crazy. You're right. You gotta watch just to see if that freaking happens. But the real question is, how good is Shroud and why Shroud? Shroud doesn't play Valorant that much. And a lot of players are like, why wouldn't you grab someone that is actually gonna be a legitimate, like, really good experienced player in the Val scene that's a free agent? Because there's a lot of them to choose from. But you gotta understand that publicity basically, in a lot of ways, pays for itself. Like, Shroud is a very expensive prospect, but he's also a really exciting and fun prospect. And you buy him in, a lot of players are just gonna watch, and it's gonna be really cool to watch. And it doesn't necessarily matter if you win or lose, right? You gotta understand that one of their best players on the roster, Sick, is not even playing with the team. So you don't really wanna replace one of your star players, a player that is going through a hard time. You don't just want to replace him. Try your hardest at LCQ, try your hardest at Champions without him. But if you're bringing aboard someone like Shroud, it makes it so it doesn't matter if you necessarily win out. You're still gonna have fun, you're still gonna get a lot of people to watch, and I think it's a good business decision, even though the check that they must have given Shroud has to be through the absolute fucking moon. And I actually want to know down below, what would you speculate they paid Shroud to bring him on the roster, just even if it's for temporary up to the end of Champions? What do you think? How do you feel about that? I'm actually really curious. Now, the next question that comes up is like, how good is Shroud actually? Of course, we know that he's insane mechanically. That's what he's like known for in the streamer world. And of course, he had a ton of success in CSGO back in the day. But this ain't 2015 no more. It's been a long time since Shroud has competed professionally at a very high level. And whether or not Shroud will just show up and pop out in Valorant remains to be seen. Now, that being said, I think across the board, it's been proven that CSGO players have a huge advantage over Valorant players. Not saying that Valorant only players or Valorant only grinders can't compete or have a bit at the top. But CSGO players time and time again prove that the many hours and reps and repetitions and teamwork that they put into CSGO translates incredibly well to Valorant, and the majority of them outperform and overperform after just a very short amount of time grinding Valorant. And I would imagine that tactically, Shroud is going to be hand-fed a lot of things from Sentinels. He's going onto an established roster with coaches, and things are going to be pretty streamlined for him. It's going to be a lot easier for him to adapt than just a random person just grinding. And of course, he's not just blindly grinding with the intent to get signed onto a team. He is already scrimming and playing with the team that is already established for a big event. So it's kind of just absolutely ridiculous, and I think that he's gonna be a lot quicker to adapt than the majority of people because he's in that environment. And it looks like he's probably gonna be on the controller role because that's what Sick was playing before, but that also could happen. We don't entirely know how serious they're gonna take these games, if they're gonna go full scrim and they're just gonna like not play around with the idea that they have Shroud on their team, or are they gonna just like throw Shroud randomly on Duelist, throw Shroud on Reyna, do a lot of fun stuff. I have no idea for sure. We're gonna have to wait and see, but I wouldn't imagine that they would just not give it their all with Shroud on the roster because the narrative of winning is way more fun. And if you're even buying Shroud on the roster just because it's gonna generate a lot of hype, you generate more and more hype per dollar the more and more you win, right? So it makes a lot of sense to give it your all and try. And watching Shroud's gonna be a lot of fun because he could just whip out these insane mechanical plays, and you know that they're gonna spread like wildfire when they happen. Now, the last thing that this brings up is what other people in content creation, what other pros, what other streamers should eventually maybe, you know, try out for a roster, be on a roster, or even go into like a minor tournament with a roster. A lot of people say Tarek, where even 100 Thieves Nate Shot has like flirted around with the idea that he would actually sign Tarek to the team. And then of course, in general, just every CSGO top pro in Valorant has just such a huge just potential to be dominant. There's so much CS talent that is untapped that if they made the transition over to Valorant, they would just be insane, like already a top 10 at whatever role they dedicate to. But you also got to understand that Counter-Strike salaries, especially for the best of the best players that I'm talking about, are just through the freaking moon. Like, you're not going to be able to match their giant salaries in Valorant very easily. Valorant is not to that stage yet. But as we get over to the actual Valorant quote-unquote league, where things are going to be privatized in an in-house league, salaries are going to be pushed up a lot. I remember reading that the minimum was like 55K a year, and salaries are going to be way higher than that, and some of the salaries are going to get ridiculous. So that it might actually end up attracting some CSGO talent, and who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens going forward. But Valorant Esports is heating up, getting fun and exciting. Definitely let me know what you think about this crazy bit of news. I'm incredibly curious, and the GameLeap website is the best place to dominate, pop off with tips, tricks, guides, and so much more. Do yourself a favor and go check it out right now down below.